Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wei Cai. Thank you for joining us. Relief supplies reach more tornado-affected families in the Midwest of the United States as Tzu Chi volunteers carry out their fourth such aid distribution. You've heard of vacuum cleaners, but what about vacuum elevators? We find out what they are and how they work in our featured series on Taiwan's lifts. And in our double feature on Taiwan's traditional trades, we meet kite makers who are keeping the industry alive by innovating new kites that can even fly without the wind. First up in the show, the Midwest of the United States was hit by violent tornadoes last month, which left behind a trail of destruction. Recently, Tzu Chi volunteers organized a fourth distribution for the victims, this time in Butler, Kentucky. A total of 95 households, or 264 residents, received much-needed aid.
Coming from 4 different areas, 58 Tzu Chi volunteers work together like clockwork with an unspoken understanding because this is their 4th tornado aid distribution. This time the relief effort is being held at Northern Elementary School in Butler, Kentucky. The respectful attitude of the volunteers makes an impression on everyone.
No idea what the ceremony would be like at all, and I'm absolutely amazed. You have taken great pains to have your organization well versed in what they should do, how to care for the people that are here. I can see the love in everyone's eyes as the elderly walk out from here. I can tell that they are loved.
From checking their information, picking up their supplies and leaving the venue, the residents are taken through each step by volunteers who make the victims feel cared for.
You can come in and still see that there are people that need help. It's quite amazing. As a matter of fact, it's unbelievable to me. It's just a shock to us, and we'll never forget this.
Thank you. After the storms, a number of relief agencies sent aid to Kentucky, but Tzu Chi volunteers insisted on personally delivering their supplies so that they could hold the victims by the hand and listen to what was on their minds.
Moving to Malaysia, Tzu Chi's campaign to encourage the public to eat 80% full and save 20% to help the poor made its mark on Wesak, or Buddha Day festivities in Penang, Malaysia. At the official festival, Tzu Chi volunteers helped set up the venue and then handed out lunches during the celebration. This year, as Wesak coincided with Earth Day, volunteers took the opportunity to practice environmentalism and promote Tzu Chi's 80-20 campaign.
Official Wesak celebrations in Penang, Malaysia were jointly organized for the first time with the Malaysia Buddhist Association, temples around the state and other Buddhist groups at the Penang Chinese Town Hall. 36 Buddhist organizations and around 700 staff supported the gathering.
After a lot of meetings, we all think Tzu Chi is very dignified because Tzu Chi controlled the crowds at the food area absolutely perfectly and in a very dignified way.
The day before, Tzu Chi volunteers came to ready the venue. In fact, these volunteers are all paid staff at the Malaysia chapter, who are happy to give up their time to support the festival.
Actually, everyone's very busy with work, but when this ball was thrown to us, we all helped to get the job done and plan this Buddhist celebration. While planning it, we learned a lot.
Under the guidance of the volunteers, everyone got their lunch in an orderly way. Sitting down, they could contemplate the posters around the venue which said, "Eat 80% full, leave 20% to help others."
It means don't waste or eat too much, so you can share what you don't need with others. As long as you have enough, that's okay.
The celebration of Wesak fell on Earth Day this year. Tzu Chi volunteers made every effort to reuse and recycle, adding an environmental touch to the Buddhist festival.
Staying on the topic of Buddha Day, which falls on May 13th in Taiwan, this year Tzu Chi is encouraging participants to eat 108 vegetarian meals before the ceremony to prepare their bodies and minds. To help people keep count, the invitation card designed by Tzu Chi has a useful checklist. Volunteers have also taken to the internet to better spread the message of vegetarianism.
In order to help participants better prepare for the upcoming Buddha Day ceremony, which this year falls on May 13th, Tzu Chi invitation cards comes with 108 spaces, which can be filled in one by one for every vegetarian meal eaten.
Every person needs to first purify his or her own heart. This year's invitation to the Buddha Day ceremony is unlike those in past years. The Tzu Chi logo on this Bodhi leaf card you see is in fact made up of 108 empty circles waiting to be filled in after each vegetarian meal you eat.
In addition to asking everyone to go meatless, Tzu Chi's Religious Affairs Office employee, Qiu Guoqi, has also started a campaign on Facebook. He hopes he can get 1.8 million people to pledge to eat vegetarian for 108 days.
Bad eating habits are one of the worst habits we can have. So you can imagine how every day there are so many people that need to eat and how this earth is slowly being devoured. I hope that everyone can find a healthy way of living and together learn to love our planet.
Protecting this earth by going meatless is something that each one of us can do. Now with Tzu Chi's Facebook campaign and this year's invitations, Tzu Chi is making it even easier for everyone to find inspiration and support on the road to giving up meat and saving this planet.
In today's feature on how elevators impact our lives, we examine a new type of design for lifts. Over the last few days, we've already seen one of the oldest elevators in Taiwan and the fastest elevator in the world, but both are based on pulley mechanics with bulky machine rooms. This new type of elevator is compact and has none of the extra baggage.
Thanks to advancements in technology, many of man's wildest dreams come to life. Elevators are also advancing with times. England recently developed an escalator like turns, an idea inspired by sushi go-around. Scientists are also working on an elevator built out of nano-carbon tubes, which will take us directly from the ground into space. Perhaps such a venture will take some time to be realized, but elevators nowadays no longer rely just on traditional mechanical pulley systems. For example, there are elevators driven by atmospheric pressure.
Basically, we draw out the air from the tube that is above the elevator car, creating low pressure, and thus utilizing the pressure difference to push the car up.
In an airtight elevator shaft, once the air above the car is sucked out, and the pressure remains the same underneath the car, the difference in pressure will push the car upward. To go down, air is let into the upper tube, and car begins to descend.
Basically, we put the motor on the top of an elevator. This way, you don't need a separate chamber to serve as an elevator machine room.
Without the use of cables and other machinery, this type of elevator is space efficient. Simply put, it works just like a vacuum cleaner.
How can we use a straw to drink liquid? That's because we use our mouths to suck out the air that's inside the straw. The atmospheric pressure then pushes the liquid up.
So exactly how powerful is atmospheric pressure? Mr. Lin has prepared an experiment to demonstrate.
This suction cup has an area of about 50 square centimeters. If you press too tightly against each other, squeezing out all the air in between, to pull them apart will require about 50 kilograms of force.
Here, for every square centimeter, 1 kilogram of force is needed. and thus 50 square centimeters in area will require 50 kilograms of force to be pulled apart.
So how do you pull it apart easily? Just peel here gently and let some air in. And voila, it opens.
Though invisible, the power of atmospheric pressure does exist. Elevators based on this type of design have a height limitation, but due to their compactness, they are more versatile in terms of application.
Taiwan's Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital received 2 accreditations concerning food safety, HACCP and ISO 22000, and is now the only medical institution in eastern Taiwan with a double recognition. Patients and families can dine at the hospital knowing that every bite comes from a safe and reliable source.
Food safety at hospitals is extra important as patients require specific diets and the best nutrition possible. Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital recently attained HACCP certification from Taiwan's SGS, as well as ISO 22000 accreditation for its competence in the safety of meal preparation and management.
With the united efforts of our staff, our meal preparation, processing and delivery are completely systematized. It's such an honor to receive 2 accreditations. This means that we are providing the patients in the Hualien-Taidong region with safe, nutritious and eco-friendly food choices.
Be it the procurement of ingredients, the hygiene of the kitchen, or the cooking process, the nutrition team at Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital has set high standards for every procedure involving food preparation.
HACCP is a certification for food safety that aims to prevent possible hazards in the process of food preparation. For instance, tests are conducted on the temperature of food heating, the results of which helps us better maintain our watch on food safety.
As a health-promoting medical institution, the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital hopes to bring its patients food that is safe to consume and wholesome enough to fortify their defenses.
One of the ways to better health is to have a well-balanced vegetarian diet. Now, also in Taiwan, recently the Taichung city government held a vegetarian cooking contest in which businesses and students put their creativity to test, producing tasty meatless dishes that look good and are low on food miles.
Steamed cubes of taro, kiwi and dragon fruit placed in pairs, and mushrooms cooked in white gourd are dishes that are both healthy and tasty. Meanwhile, mashed pumpkins and potatoes are shaped and molded into little dogs.
As many children don't want anything else but meat, I want to encourage them to eat more fruits and vegetables because it's healthier for them.
This dish, the wings of the phoenix, is put together with sliced bamboo shoots and fruits. Creator Zhang Wanshen is a student at Siming High School and comes from a family that runs a catering business. Since young, Zhang has wanted to be a chef to promote the goodness of vegetables, something he prefers over meat.
People are really concerned about their health nowadays. I want to exercise my creativity and come up with more delicious vegetarian dishes to share with everyone. I want to make healthy food that brings happiness to people.
A lot of people believe it is hard to make vegetarian dishes tasty, but coming here today, I saw dishes that look good and taste good and are all very healthy too.
Using ingredients grown locally, these chefs of great talent have come up with meatless dishes that are not only tasty, nutritious, low carbon, but are also beautifully presented.
In our featured series on Taiwan's sunset trades, today we will introduce you to the art of kite making. Traditional kites are limited in shape, but for our next story, 60-year-old kite making master Yang Xueshi from Nantou is going to show us the unusual designs he has created over the years.
Before introducing our DaAi TV reporter to his collection, kite-making master Yang Xueshi first shares his love of music with a song on the harmonica. Whether it is the 10-meter-long flying dragon or the centipede with countless legs, each kite designed by Yang is unique and creative in its own way and has helped him win many national awards.
I will lift this up and face it towards the sun. When your design can successfully fly in the sky, it makes you really happy.
It is also that sense of happiness and contentment that has motivated Yang Xuesi in his career as a kite maker. After winning national awards over a few consecutive years, at 60 years of age, Yang decided to return to his hometown in Lugu for retirement.
We can't ride a buffalo and a horse at the same time. That means you can't have your cake and eat it too. Sometimes we have to give and take.
As a child, Yang Xuesi was already very passionate towards kites and began making them when he was in high school. Whenever anyone needs a few tips, Yang is always happy to pass on his knowledge. Taking out a piece of paper, 2 sticks and sticky tape, a small kite is made within 3 minutes.
Both sides have to balance. For example, when we make a kite in a square shape, if you don't make sure both sides are balanced, when we fly the kite, the side with the bigger surface will take on more air pressure and thus the kite will tilt towards that end. Just use your finger to support the kite and find the center. A good kite is when both sides are balanced and stable, when you hold it with one finger.
To be able to fly smoothly in the sky is the key to kite making, the design and color of the kite being next in importance. Yang Xuesi says the traditional toy is simple but takes creativity to make, and he's ready to pass on his knowledge and skills at any time.
Most kites have one string and can only fly if there's a strong breeze. However, in recent years, a few enthusiasts have created kites that can fly without the wind. These special kites have 2 strings instead of 1. We meet modern kite designer Chen Zhenting to find out more.
People generally think that a kite can only fly when there's wind, but we're trying to change that perspective. These 3 kites are able to fly without wind. You can put the string on the ground and set aside a bit just in case. You don't have to run, just pulling up will do.
With drizzling rain and no wind, kite designer Chen Zhenting flies his kite in the sky without too much effort. For the past 20 years, the man has dedicated his time to creating special kites that are not affected by the weather.
This is a Japanese style.
Having studied computing in the US, Chen draws his designs using the software he's most familiar with.
When we have an idea in mind, to design a pattern, it will take up to a month to complete.
After confirming the design, Chen Zhenting then takes the pattern apart to make templates.
This part of the pattern I'm taking out now is the middle part. The middle part is the head, and this is the teeth, and then the wings. That's the left and right wing. So if I put them together, you see when this is all put together, you will make a complete kite.
Sewing and arranging the frames, every step of the production is crucial to making a good kite. In spite of the smooth process, Chen Zhenting faces tough competition from abroad, customers seeking creative artworks, as well as buying different materials for each design.
Here comes the problem. Every material that we need has a minimum amount of purchase. You see, we have many frames here. There are too many. I didn't want to buy that many, but I had no choice. That's the minimum order. So what happens is that when we have all these things, we try our best to use these in all the kites that we design.
Chen Zhenting says he was much inspired when he saw a foreigner flying a kite in a local park in the US some 20 years ago. It was that moment when Chen vowed to himself to take Taiwan's kites to a new level.
Of course, I feel proud at this moment. I feel that I share the same joy as the person who is flying the kite. I share their happiness.
On a boat from Taidong to the Green Island, Chen is testing out his newly made kite.
originally thought if this didn't work out, then we would just throw the kite away. But we traveled from Taidong's Fugang, and the kite kept on flying all the way to Green Island.
Seeing his own artwork flying freely in the sky brings Chen Zhenting a sense of accomplishment. He says he will continue to design and make kites as long as he can.
69-year-old Zheng Kunchi is a retired engineer who now spends his time composing songs to promote recycling because he believes music has the power to educate people. The pensioner even took a degree in music and has already composed 300 to 400 tunes.
Focusing his thoughts while writing down the lyrics, 69-year-old Zheng Kunchi hopes to promote recycling through music. Other than the song Let's Go Recycling, another one named Let's Practice Recycling even incorporates elements from an opera. This song's melody is taken from Mozart's The Marriage of Figaro with lyrics written by Zheng. It took him about 6 years to learn how to compose music. And at 65, he completed a degree in vocal music.
When I practice recycling, I see many unclean items, so I want to raise awareness about clean recyclables.
Mr. Zheng has currently written 300 to 400 tunes. His goal next is to bring out a karaoke CD.
I hope by singing everyone can absorb the Master's Dharma. That's my goal.
Since 2006, U.S. Tzu Chi headquarters has been promoting its humanitarian mission by donating Jingsi publications to libraries. By 2009, more than 5,000 Tzu Chi books could be found in more than 186 public libraries and 18 national and university libraries in the U.S. Recently, more of Tzu Chi's books have been donated to some 20 libraries in Southern California.
In Haiti or wherever there are disasters in the world, Tzu Chi volunteers can be seen giving themselves, powered by the love that has been gathered from around the world.
I think seeing the videos today really impacted what I felt needs to be done in the world.
With a pure mind.
In promoting Jingsi publications, the U.S. Tzu Chi headquarters is donating books to some 20 libraries in Southern California. The donation ceremony is refreshing for many librarians.
You know, this is a fantastic place. It's not just the building that's the important part, it's the people. You're all so gracious and make us feel welcome.
It's like what Master Zheng Yan said, to build a spiritual training ground in communities.
One book may change a person's life. Through the words of Jingsi publications, hopefully more goodness will be gathered.
To end the show, in Taoyuan, Taiwan, team members recently organized a free clinic, especially for patients with spinal injuries. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.